Hey mamas, today I'm going to be sharing with you my weekly homeschool prep routine. Specifically, I'm going to be talking about what I do at the beginning of the week to prepare for the homeschool week ahead, as well as the things that I do on a daily basis to prepare for each homeschool day throughout the week. I'm Yael, by the way, if we haven't already met, and I'm a homeschooling mama of 3 mini humans. And if you love videos all about curriculum, resources, planning, and videos like this, you have come to the right place. So be sure to subscribe and enable those notifications so you don't miss what I have next just for you, mama. First, let's talk about what I do at the beginning of each new homeschool week to make sure that we are prepared for success. The very first thing I like to do is make sure everything is tidied up around the house as much as I can, and make sure all of our supplies, materials, books, everything is gathered up and organized as much as possible so that we have an easy time accessing those things throughout the week. And I will say our homeschool spaces are easily accessible for all the little hands. So what tends to happen over the weekend for us is that some things will be taken out and need to be tidied, especially on that Sunday when we're preparing for the new week ahead. So I will make sure to go and do that, and my kids, all of us have helping hands to make sure that task gets completed. The other thing I like to do is shift around the kids' artwork. So if there is some artwork that's been hanging for a week or two, I will make sure that those get taken down so that if there's a new craft or drawing or painting that we do during the week, we have the space to put it up and I don't have to fuss with it during the week. The other thing I will do is take out their loose work from their filing folders that's dedicated for each of the kids' subjects and make sure that those are cleared out enough that when we go to put new loose work in there, it's not busting at the seams. And as I've mentioned in a previous video, I like to put all of this loose work into their school portfolios. So this is a system that I've created. It's very effective, and it's something that I like to do again at the start of each week so that we're keeping up with all of their loose work. The other thing that I love doing is displaying read alouds, and this includes all the different picture books or sensory books for my son. And I like doing this because it builds up a curiosity for my kids and an anticipation for all the things that we are planning to read during the homeschool week. Now, I do want to mention that I don't typically write down all the different read alouds that we're going to do during the week, but rather having them on display again just builds up our anticipation to read those particular books, and then it frees up the opportunity to read them whenever we'd like to. So I'm not necessarily sticking to a schedule, but I'm also preparing the environment for us to welcome these stories into our home. I also like to take some time to make sure my son's Montessori shelves are prepared accordingly. So I will have made observations during the week before to see what my son has mastered or where his interests lie, and I will make sure that I swap out the different activities accordingly. Along the lines of activities, I also like to make sure I prepare as much as I can ahead of time all the special activities that my kids are going to do. So especially those things that need to be laminated or cut up, I will try to do all of that on a Saturday or a Sunday to prepare for the week. Now, sometimes it doesn't happen on a Saturday or a Sunday, but I just try to gauge how we're moving throughout the week, if it's something that I can do the night before we do the activity. So either way, I just need to make sure that I am preparing as much as I possibly can during that beginning of the week time so that we are prepared as much as possible for those activities moving into the new week. This brings me to the final thing that I like to do in my weekly prep routine, and that is to sit down with my homeschool notebook, planner, and my personal planner to make sure that I am taking into account all of the different things that we might have planned that are outside of our homeschooling, and make sure that I am prepared for what learning is going to look like on those particular days. This time that I have dedicated to sitting down with my personal planner and with my homeschool planner notebook is just to get a general idea of how we're going to move throughout our homeschool week and all the things that we might want to accomplish during the week. So I just kind of write down some general ideas of what we're going to do. And some categories I'm a little bit more specific than others. I am way more specific when it comes to what special activities we want to do per day. And the reason for that is because I like to refer to it the night before each new homeschooling day. Then when it comes to things like writing down lessons for each of the core subjects, I typically don't detail those things out anymore, but sometimes I will, so it just depends on the week. In general, though, this time for me to plan is dedicated to getting those general ideas out on paper, and that helps me to just get a focus on what we want to accomplish throughout our homeschooling week. Now, considering all the things I just mentioned, I really just have in the back of my mind an overall goal of making sure that I am intentionally preparing our learning environment for the week. I have learned in the recent past that yes, learning, homeschooling, those things happen even in the midst of mess and chaos, but it's important for me to be intentional about the ways that I'm preparing for my kids, because I notice that that sets a tone for us and our success for the homeschooling week. Before I jump into the other things that I like to do during each homeschooling day as the week progresses, I would like to invite you to give this video a like if you're enjoying it so far, because that will help it to spread to more beautiful mamas just like you. After each homeschooling day, it's pretty straightforward. The kids and I will tidy, we'll clean up, and again, just like I do at the beginning of the week, I make sure that all of our supplies, our books, our loose work, everything is put back into the place where it needs to be. At the end of the day, I like to take out my homeschool planner notebook and refer to the next school day and all the special activities we are going to be doing for that day, so that I can prepare for those ahead of time. And any cutting, laminating, whatever that I did not get to on Saturday and Sunday, I will make sure that I do that for the next day. When it comes to putting out the activities for the kids, I like to gather them up and make them as organized as I can onto trays. So I have these wooden trays that are really handy for making sure all of those materials are ready for the kids to use. And I also sometimes use these woven baskets to gather up smaller parts. If you saw my last homeschool update, you'll know that I made a routine shift for the way that we do our workflow each day. So my kids are not only doing some special activities in the morning, but they will jump right into their independent work for the day. So it's important for me to make sure I delineate the specific pages that my kids are going to work on, and I like to do that with different colored markers. Once all of those pages are marked off, I just make sure that all of those workbooks are readily available for the kids in the homeschooling space. By now, they have gotten used to this workflow, so they know that when they see those books out, it means that that is their independent work, and they look for those stars at the top of the page to refer to all of the pages that they need to complete for the day. In addition to preparing those workbooks, I also will wrangle up all of the loose worksheets that they're going to do first thing in the morning, and I put them on a clipboard. Using clipboards for the loose worksheets has been so helpful, because the kids know that when they're done with those sheets, they just put it right back into the clipboard, and then that makes it easier for me to gather them up and put them in their file folders. Other nightly / morning of prep that I like to do is to take a sneak peek at some of the lessons that I'm going to be doing with the kids for the day. More often than not, we need different types of materials for each of the lessons, especially for our reading curriculum, Logic of English. I love the fact that the kids use all kinds of different manipulatives and materials to help them learn, but it does require me to take a sneak peek at those lessons to make sure that I have everything I need and prepared for the kids. In the past, I have done lessons with them where I'm just scrambling and I'm grabbing things here and there, and I have to disrupt the lesson to grab those things. So I've learned from the past that it's important for me to make sure all of those materials are gathered and ready for the kids and I to use ahead of time. If you are interested in how we do our homeschool days, so our routines, our schedule, as well as how I like to plan for our homeschool on a weekly, yearly, and monthly basis, you can check out this playlist right here. I hope you enjoy it, and I think it'll be helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me today, mamas. Take care, be blessed, and I'll see you in the next one.